The blood, right? Wait a minute, I can't feel blood. That tingling, that's the energy flowing back again. So by doing the exercise like that, you're getting the energy moving. So back to the board here. Need 2 hands. Can't use the microphone, I need 2 hands. So now, how do we get our energy moving? It's by practicing exercises and regulating our breath. When we regulate our breath, that's when we can start to affect our emotions. Does that make sense? Take a deep breath. Relax. What do you do when someone tells you to do that? What do you mean? I am relaxed. Why are you telling me to relax? You relax. We get very defensive when someone tells us to relax, right? Check your emotions. What are you doing? Think about what you're doing. Those are all like triggers for us to actually increase our intensity. So our emotions are affected by our breath. Take a deep breath. In through your nose. Out through your nose if that's fine, otherwise out through your mouth. Are you breathing from your chest? Yes. Or are you breathing from your stomach and your diaphragm? Put your hand on each one, if you care to do this. Try to make your stomach, if you just relax, that's the first way to do it. Just relax and breathe in. But when you breathe out, make an extra effort to squish your stomach. So now when you breathe in again, you just relax and your stomach kind of fills up. It's not your stomach, it's the diaphragm moving your lungs. Exhale, squish your stomach. Inhale, relax your stomach. So just this simple gesture of monitoring your breath will make you start to relax, unless someone tells you to do it. Yes?
Doesn't that also lower your blood pressure?
It does. Oh, that brings up a good point. I'm glad you asked. So all of you are in the room here, right? As we get older, we get body issues, health issues, high blood pressure. Okay, how much does it cost each time you get a high blood pressure medicine? Or you go to the doctor and get it checked? You do the math, it adds up, right? I teach a group class in Winter Park at a church. It's $8 a class. People are like, that's expensive. Well, then don't do the exercises. Keep going to your doctor and keep putting the medicine in your body. Or go to the class. Lower your blood pressure. Make your balance better. Work on your posture. It's like that old saying, pay me now or pay me later. One way or another, you're going to have to pay for your health. One way or the other. It's just how it works. Okay? So it does lower your blood pressure. But you can't do it just once. You got to do it on a regular schedule. Does everybody brush their teeth every day? Please? Please? At least once, right? Does everybody try to eat healthy every day? You know, these are things that are kind of your lifestyle. Well, if you can kind of focus a little bit on breathing every day, even if it's just for 5 minutes, you start feeling the benefits, next thing you'll be doing it for 10 minutes. Or twice a day. 3 times, you know, it's all up to you. The more you put into it, the more you get out of it. So our emotions do affect our health. How it works, a little bit more of the detail behind it. Your emotions, let's go back to a breath. We take a deep breath. What do you think about when you take a deep breath? Well, depends what's going on in your brain, right? Somebody just died in my family. That's not good, right? I take a deep breath. It's like that long, deep, sad breath, right? Hey, let's get moving. Let's go do jumping jacks. Your breath is kind of short and quick and shallow, right? Hey, let's really focus on the future. Let's do some heavy thinking about investments and where we're going to end up and retire. You kind of get the picture, right? What you think in between your ears is the worst thing for your health. It's your worst enemy. But it can be your best friend if you can monitor it. So your breath affects your emotions. Your emotions change your body chemistry. You know how that works? By the way, all of the stuff I've learned hasn't been going to medical school or clinically taught. This is all from martial arts training from people that are in the same venue, you know, martial arts masters. Some of my students have been chiropractors, doctors, physicians. It's all different people. Over the years, this is where all this training came from. So I travel around the country because the martial arts masters decided to come here when China started throwing them in jail. They said, hey, let's go to the United States. We can do this freely with the freedom of speech. So, body chemistry. If you're watching television and something that's very disturbing, annoying, you watch politics, you watch disaster, catastrophe, you got to turn it off, right? Because it makes you, what, angry, sometimes sick to your stomach, depending on what the subject matter is. So your body chemistry changes. If you're getting sick to your stomach watching something on television, what's happening to your stomach? You're creating more stomach acid. You know what an ulcer is? An ulcer in your stomach from stress and worrying too much. So each of these different things, your breath affects your emotions, affects your body chemistry chemistry affects your organs. So if we're going to go run, let's go run 5 miles. What organs does running exercise? What do you mostly think of when you think of running? It's your heart and your lungs. Do you think of your spleen, your pancreas, your kidneys? I don't know. Maybe they get some exercise from the extra blood flow, right? What we just did with the breath, that's definitely your lungs and your heart. When we start doing the twisting of the torso, breathing from the diaphragm, every time you breathe from your diaphragm, the organs get jostled. They get squished. So they're getting exercise. We consciously do not think of exercising our organs. Okay, everybody, we're going to do an exercise for your gallbladder. Where's your gallbladder? Do you know where your spleen's at? Do you know where your liver's at? So basic anatomy, most of us are not in touch with it. When we exercise, the American culture is get your arms and legs moving to get your heart beating. The rest of the circulation will fill in. I want to have big arms. How many people do you know of that die or have injuries or illnesses from having big arms? Doesn't really happen. It's the organs. But we spend the least amount of time actually thinking about our organs when we exercise. So it comes back to our breathing, which affects our emotions, which affects the blood chemistry, which affects the organs. Does it all make sense? So then there's this other cool thing. Any questions, by the way? I'm just such a great speaker, and this makes sense, and you guys just all are following this perfectly. Yes?
What if you have, like, drop foot? Does this help with that?
If you have what?
Drop foot, like a palsy?
Okay.
It doesn't lift right. You know what drop foot is?
No, not specifically.
It's like a palsy where it doesn't, the muscles don't work properly.
Okay.
Could be muscular, yeah.
So let me explain this next part, and you'll see how this figures in there.
So very quickly, the people in the back can't hear. Okay, just announce, no, just repeat what she said. I heard you. Repeat the question.
The woman was asking if I knew what drop foot was, which
It's a reconstructive surgery.
reconstructive surgery on the foot for muscular issue of some sort, that the range of motion is not what it should be.
Just trauma.
Trauma. Did it happen from trauma? Like car accident or something like that? Okay, so we have this phenomenal piece of machinery that we call our human body that will heal itself if we let it. But again, that thing in between our ears sometimes gets in the way, and the stress makes us not able to heal as quickly. All right? Or our lifestyle doesn't let us heal because we keep working something that should be rested. So when we're doing this breathing thing, what happens is there's a few chemicals that are released, and it's an acronym for dose, like a dose of medicine. So we got dopamine, I'm just going to abbreviate, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. Those are good things. That, when you do the deep breathing, you get your breath slow, it changes the body chemistry. The nervous system kicks in. It thinks that you're sleeping. So you're sitting there and you're falling asleep. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall asleep. You start breathing deeply like you want to go to sleep, but you're doing it with the exercises. Your brain kicks in and says, hey, I think I'm asleep. It's time to start regenerating and resting our body as if we're sleeping overnight. So then these chemicals start to be introduced into the blood. Those are the things they give you when you go to the hospital when you're in trauma. Dopamine has to do with when you achieve a goal and you feel good, you accomplish something. Like you did the set of exercises, and it's like, hey, I did it, I feel good. Oxytocin is like nurturing. You feel like you're around people, you feel good. It's like you give off that feeling that you care for people. Serotonin is like satisfaction, like you feel you have good self-esteem, you're worth something. These are all chemicals that are in there that we produce. But what ends up happening is there's this bad one that we don't like. Call it the death hormone. Anybody ever hear of this before? So when we're stressed, that kicks in and it kind of overrides the other ones. So what ends up happening, our body thinks that we're constantly stressed. We're not. This is just how we operate now. But we don't take the time to operate where we get that dose going. And that's where Tai Chi comes back into play. So looking at the clock, I need to show you some more Tai Chi. Does this make sense?
And just really quickly, just before you get started, it is 12:50, just to kind of give the time announcement.
Yeah. You might not need to leave, or you probably are going to need to leave, but you don't need to go home. Is that how the saying goes? So I will hang around for a little bit afterwards if anybody wants to talk or look at my information back there. So let's try a couple more movements so you can see again how this stuff all comes together. So if you want, find a spot. You definitely need a little bit of room again, elbow width apart if not more. So the last thing after we do this is if you have questions. Some of you will need to go. If you have questions, we can openly ask them in a group or individually. So, okay, you got enough room? We're ready? Drop the mic. So we did that first part, right? The main focus with that, move the ball of your foot. The other exercise that I was telling you that you should try and do on a daily basis, shaking the joints. All right? If that's the only thing you get out of today, roll on the ball of your foot on a daily basis, shake your body. If you can do up to like a couple minutes at a time, that's the goal. That helps get your lymphatic system moving. Blood and oxygen are going to move regardless. Sometimes better or worse, depending upon your state of health. Lymphatic system, which is the garbage in your body, the waste, it does not move unless you move. All right? So the exercise we're going to try and do now is, again, feet shoulder width apart. Shift left, shift right, find your center of gravity. You have a big beach ball once again. I'm spinning it to the left. Pivot to your left and turn your foot out to the right. Push the beach ball from in front of your body to the right side of the room. All right? So I was here. I was straight ahead. I got this big beach ball. I spin it to the left. This time, pivot both feet to the right corner. Sink on the left. Push to the right. And like this ball just got smaller, push it away from your body. So if you're looking at it from a side, some of you are turned sideways. I'm going from here. I push to the right. My hands come to the right. All right? So from here, my hands are going to flip like I'm splashing water in a pond. Splash. And then they're going to drop down. All right? So let's come back to where we were at in the center here. So I have this big beach ball. I spin it to the left. Shift, pivot to the right. Push your left foot into your hips to the right. Like I said, this is work. Okay, this isn't free. You got to work. You got to do it, right? Splash. When my hands splash and come down, I'm going to shift back, push this leg into the left, let the arms come down. Pivot back to the front. Spin the big ball. So this time I'm going to spin it to the right. Pivot to the left. Shift on the right. Shift on the left. Push the ball away from your body. Splash. Splash. Arms come down. Hips draw back. Okay? So that's like the first two exercises in that set. So again, I have this big beach ball. I spin it to the left. Sink down. Pivot to the right. Both feet. Shift to the left. So this is going back to the tree. You got the branches, right? Your feet push into your hips. Your hips turn your torso. Your arms move to your hands. And then it does the same thing going the other way. Splash. So I shift my weight. I turn my torso a little bit. And the hands come along for the right at the end. So the idea with what I was saying about posture, we want to do both sides. So I go back to the front. I spin the ball to the right. Pivot the feet. I shift from the right leg to the left leg to the hips. Turn the torso. Finish with the hand pushing away. Hand splash. Arms drop. Push the feet into the hips. Turn the torso. Arms come along for the right. Okay. Extra credit, we would go on. It would be from here we push, and then we pull back, and then we push up, And then we twist and turn our shoulders. And then there's an elbow. And then the arms go 2 directions to split. And then we reach. And then we do the whole thing again on the other side. So to finish it up, take a deep breath quickly and breathe out right away. Take another deep breath, a little deeper, a little slower, and push down, squish your stomach. Third time, deepest, longest, squish your stomach. Lock your knees and elbows. I turn my head to the left. Feel good, right? So what happens, that last part, if you can stand or sit, whatever, I get my energy moving, I'm feeling good. I move my hands for a few minutes, they turn pink and purple, black from the marker. So it's like I get my energy moving, I feel good. Just like when you run and you got to stop, it's like I don't want to just stop because my body's moving. So what we do with our energy, we got it moving, we're trying to store it down by our center of gravity. That's why I was asking you earlier if you knew where that's at. So that's like our piggy bank. Every time you do a breath, you squish, you push down towards your navel, the center of gravity. It's like you're putting another coin in the piggy bank. Because as we get older, we want our energy down here. We don't want it all up here. That's like the hot-headed concept. You know, it's like, hey, you're hot-headed. You got a lot of anger. Well, what happens when you get older? You're thinking a lot about your life, so you're up here in your head. It gets hot. That's the stress. Down here it gets cold because you're not moving it. So really the idea is to get the coolness of down here to come up to the top of your head. You get the heat from up here to come down to your navel and your belly button, your energy center, so that you can stay healthy as you get older. Does this make sense? So there's definitely some theory and philosophy behind it. A lot of times when people first see Tai Chi, they're like, oh, it's exercise, it's slow, it's boring. They only see the outside. It's like looking at a book. If you don't read it, you don't know what's on the inside. You got to do it. You got to do the exercise. You got to do the breathing for it to work. So the third thing to walk away with today, shaking the body, rolling the ball of your foot, deep breath. Try on your own. Find somewhere quiet and you can do it. Try to take 4 seconds to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Slow exhale, 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4. And you just do that like for a minute. You know, you could do it with the TV on, but it's kind of distracting. You don't want that. You want something quiet and peaceful. Next thing you know, you're going to feel good. And like, wow, I feel kind of refreshed. You'll do it for 5 minutes and then 10 minutes. Don't have to do an hour or 2. That's kind of intense if you want to go that route. That's down the road. So can everybody stay another minute or 2? If you got to go, you got to go. Got to explain this other thing here. I'm sorry? Endorphins. Endorphin is when your body is under tension or stress, you're exercising in that flow, and then afterwards you feel, oh, I feel good because I exercised. So here's another reason why it's so important to breathe deeply. In our culture right now in the United States, we're operating at about 12 to 18 breaths per minute. Because we always think that we need to be doing something. We're always on. The light switch never goes off. If you do what we just did, just breathing without even really thinking, but slow breathing, you'll probably get down to about 10 breaths per minute, and that's where your body starts to say, hey, I think I'm getting ready to sleep. That's where the parasympathetic nervous system kicks in. If you can time it, there's music. You can find this on the internet. Music that's got the pace and it'll chime every 4 seconds. If you can do 4 seconds for a minute, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, that gets you to 7.5 breaths per minute. It's not that hard. If you hold your breath, so inhale for 4, hold it for 4, exhale for 4, so it's a 12-second breath. Now you're down to 5. We're up here all the time. We're always on. So the Tai Chi exercise is a way that you can do it. It'll take 4 seconds. So it's a little longer because I'm trying to make it longer. 4 seconds in. Now it's when it starts to look really slow, and this is when people get bored because they think it's just this slow, boring movement. But they don't realize that you're monitoring your breath as you're doing it. And if you're thinking about your breath, you're probably not thinking about where you're eating lunch. You're probably not thinking about your retirement fund. You're probably not thinking about the weather, because it takes effort to think about your breathing and to make it work with your body movement. So that is very important. So shake your body, move the ball of your foot, try to slow your breathing down. If you can do those 3 things, all this other stuff is kind of like extra icing on the cake. Because that's the goal, is to get the breathing slow, to get the emotions to slow down, to get the body chemistry to change so you don't have stress and cortisol flowing through your body all the time. Any questions? I can't hear you. You need a microphone. Which part? The breathing? 3 things. Shake the body with the ball of the foot, because that'll help improve your body, your physical balance. Roll the wave and slow down the breathing. Monitor your breathing. Get the music, or just count on your own and do it. So, anybody? Yes? Supreme Ultimate. Supreme Ultimate. Yeah, the Supreme Ultimate. Like, what's that? Like God, higher power? Or it basically means that as you're doing the exercises, you're connecting to get your energy moving. The Supreme Ultimate. Some translation is the Grand Ultimate Fist, yes. But throughout the whole form, there's only a couple times when you make a fist. It's all pretty much open or like this. It is a martial art. What we just did is a martial art, but that's not martial applications. So.
Can you, so it's like using a gas lawnmower or a chainsaw or something, does that get your what do you call it?
G?
No, not the G, no.
The blood chemistry?
The lymph system.
Movement.
Yeah.
Yeah, movement, any kind of movement. But then you got to...
Shaking is the same thing as like shaking your hands, right?
Yes.
Like you got the vibration of the right power to it.
Yes, but sometimes you got to look at what the other type of movement is offsetting. So if you're doing something that's vibrating too much, then your nervous system starts to get attacked from too much vibration. So there's a balance. Sometimes that, like I say, like running, the health benefits you get from running as you get older cancel out. Your knees and ankles start having problems, and people are dying from heart attack as they're running. So proper posture, most people think, is being able to keep your back straight like this. But guess what? If you do only that, you can't do this. And if you can't touch your toes, touch your hands, you need to have flexibility, because that whole chain of muscles on the back side of the body affect your organs. Because the spine, when it's tight, has nerves in it. And if the nerves are tight and pinched, then the organs are affected by it. So good posture, be able to do this when you need to sit and stand, but you need to practice doing these type of exercises too, where every joint bends, every vertebrae bends, and then back up. Because really, you just want to be able to be neutral. You shouldn't be real hard. Shouldn't be here. Should be natural. So.